Good morning. My screen is visible to both of you?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start. So in the previous class, we saw about the margin and padding. And there's one point I wanted to add that padding does not support this auto feature. Okay. So this auto is not applicable in padding. However, you can use it in margin as we discussed. Okay. And rest of the things were same in the padding also. So I hope you had discussed all these things, right? Okay.
Yes.
So today let's see the new things. So today we will see about the height, weight and maximum weight. So we have previously done this also, means in the earlier when we were applying styling, we were applying this width, height like this. Okay. So here also you can apply the same way, means to anything you can to any element you can apply height or width. It can be of any value. And maximum width means it can take maximum width up to this thing. Let's discuss this. I'm creating one um, i1.html, okay, and here index.css file, i1.css only because it's already existing. So here let's say I have a div. Okay. Now here I have written that this is a div. Now in the css part I'll just add some of the things. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so here let's say in the div I'm adding some width as 200 pixels, and let me add some background color so that we can see the effect nicely. Now I'll have to link this file also here. So that file is i1.css. Give me a क्रिश हमारी क्लास चल रही गेट बंद करो. Okay. So now you can see this means width. Okay. Here also. Let me just increase the font size. And maximum width, let me give it to 500 pixels or 300 pixels. Okay. No. Okay. Like one thing this I want to tell you that we can apply width in a lot of format. Okay. Now here I have given 50%. Okay. So every time this 50% will be different. How to see what is the actual height, because we have given 50 pixels. If I want to know in the pixels what is it, so what I'll do, I'll go in the inspect, and then here you can select this element. Now, here in the computed section, you can go and see that the width is 342 pixels. Okay, why? Because the screen is 342. Now, if I decrease it, can you see this width? Please notice here, this width is also decreasing, right? Now, if I just elongate it to the maximum, okay, you can see the maximum is 342. It is going right now. Now, let me just give this maximum width as 400 pixels. Okay, till previously what we saw, that this width was going till 446, means above 400 also it was going. But this time we are giving the maximum width, means as the English word says that the maximum width should be 400 pixels. Let's see. Okay, now also if I'm trying to elongate it, it is not increasing above 400. See, the width is 400 only. Earlier it was 446, right? Now if I decrease it, decrease, as it comes means before 400 pixels, it can take any kind of value. Okay, why? Because it is max 50%. But after 40 means 400 pixels, it is fixed. Okay, so this is the reference between this width and height, maximum width and maximum width. Now similarly we can see about the height. So height also, it can be anything, means you can specifically fix it to pixels. So here you can see in the pixels, it will always be 400 pixels, 300 pixels, sorry, here in the height. But if I give it in percentage, so for example 30%, so it will depend on the viewport. Okay, all these things will be there. So now going ahead, what we saw about the maximum width and the height. Okay, now it can have auto value. Auto means it will be calculated by default, whatever is the space remaining, among that it will be calculated. Now for the length also, we see that in the pixels or all these things we can do. When we'll see the units, then you can also specify. Now percentage we already saw. Initial means, for example, if we have a div. Okay, now inside div we have h1. Okay, now if I apply h on this h1, if I'm going to apply initial, it means that whatever is the default value, that's okay. But mostly we can use sometimes inherit. You will see that inherit means whatever is the div, means these height and width of the parent. How we will write? We will simply go in the h1. Just we'll simply go in the h1 and write height width as inherit. Okay. Now what happens here basically, that whatever is the values are set for this parent, the exact values will be applied on this child also. Okay, so that's the meaning of inherit. Now box model. Okay, so in the box model we earlier we saw border, padding and margin, right? Now if I talk about box model, it means that margin, border, padding and content, all of them share the same width. Let me give you the demonstration with the help of this diagram. So see, suppose if I apply width, okay, what a width I am applying, that I want 300 pixels. So you don't, you will consider that 300 pixels is of this content. Okay, mostly it is of this content only, that it will 300 pixels, in the 300 pixel space this content will be visible. However, if I have applied padding, border, margin, and basically if I have applied borders, means whatever is the box model and it is border box, it means that the entire width will be considering margin, border and padding also. Means 300 pixels means this margin also, left margin, left border, left padding plus content plus this right padding, right border and right margin. Okay, this entire thing will be the width. And similarly for the height also, it will calculate all of them. Now let's see with the help of this example. Let me keep it to div only. Okay, or let me just, okay, so here let me just remove this maximum width because we don't require it now. So this width I am applying 50. Sorry. So this width I am applying 50%. Okay, now let me apply some padding. Let me just open it so that you can see. Okay, or let's say this 30 pixels, let me apply. Okay, now border I am giving 2 pixels solid and black. We got the border here. Similarly for the pad margin, so margin, after the border it gets applied. So margin also, let me give, okay, 20 pixels, right? Now I should specifically give it to 400 pixels, let's say. So you can see how what width I have applied, 400 pixels. Now going here in the inspect. Okay, this we are basically saying. So here if you see the width, and here if you see the width, it is 400 pixels, right? So here in this box model only, it is demonstrated that this is 400 pixels. Now 30 pixels padding we have applied, 2 pixels border we have applied, and 20 pixels margin we have applied, right? So here you can see the area also, whatever is the highlighted, that is our thing. Okay, now let me just add something else, which is, the screen is visible, right? Perfectly. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is visible.
If I apply box sizing border box, now just see the difference. Here I have refreshed. Okay. Again, let's select this element only. Okay. So now in the computed, what you will see, the width actually now, however, the whole total width is 400 pixels. It will be 400 pixels, no worries. But here, if you see, it is divided. Okay. Now 336 it is, then this is 30, this is 2, this is 20. Okay. So if you see this 2 plus 2, what it is, 4. Now 4 plus 336, it is 340, right? Now 340 plus this 30 plus 60. Okay, similarly this 20 plus 20 means it is 100. So now it has been divided. Okay, this entire 400 pixels has been divided between this margin, border, padding, and all this. So what has happened, the entire now as a whole, from the margin to the content, now it is 400 pixels. Okay, earlier what was it? Now I'll just quickly uncomment this border box sizing border box, and now again you can see that it is 400 pixels, means only the content is 400 pixels. So I hope this means demonstration is clear, that if I apply box sizing border box, then what happens, it takes the entire box, means from the margin, from the left margin to the right margin, it will contain everything inside this width. Okay, but if I remove it, it means that only the content will be the width. So here's that what I was trying to say, that wait. See here, margin plus border plus padding plus content, everything is here. So how you can just calculate? It is very simple, right? So you have to simply start from the left margin and go till the right margin and just calculate everything. Okay, and don't forget, means most of the time, suppose if someone asks you, I apply 20 pixels margin, 30 pixel padding, 2 pixel border. So what you will do? 20 plus 30 means 50, 50 plus 52 plus whatever is left inside. You will think this, but it is not the case. You have to consider the right case also, because as it is in the left one, it is in the right one also. So this again you have to just count this padding two times, similarly border two times and margin two times. Okay, so that was about this box model. Now, your question will be, how is it helpful? So it is obviously helpful because this time you will know that okay, your 400 pixels is entire thing. Okay, earlier what was happening? You will apply this width as 400 pixels, but now you don't know actual width, because width will be different. Now, let me just change some of the things here. Suppose I apply padding 60 pixels, okay, and this margin also 50 pixels. Now see, here What did we expect it? We expected to get 400 pixels, means as a whole I wanted this entire place to be 400 pixels. Let me just remove it. Yeah, see the difference. What I wanted only 400 pixels, but now it is more than 400 pixels. Why? Because it has some padding also, it has some border also. The border also can be of any width. So if I increase these sizes, the actual width just changes. Okay, so that's why we want to fix the width. That width should be 400 pixels, whatever the margin, padding and all that is yours. Okay, now if you notice, see, it has been 400 pixels only. So that's the best part of adding this box model. So basically whenever we apply now, we apply this to the universal thing. Now what I mean by universal selector is, see, we saw about this asterisk sign, right? So here if I apply anything, basically before creating any website, what we do margin pad 0, padding also 0, and similarly box sizing we apply as border box, so that all these things will be default. Now why I'm doing margin 0, padding 0, sorry, because what happens, a browser by default adds some margin and padding to every element, okay, by default. Even when we have not add any padding or margin, it will be added by default. So we need to remove everything which is added by default. We need to start afresh. So we will do everything 0, and now we will go on each and every element and then apply our own css and html. Okay, so that's what we generally practice. So here in the universal operator, mostly these three properties are there always. And mostly other thing is font family. If you want to apply font family for the entire website, that this should be the font family that you can apply. Now, similar to the border, okay, we have something like outline. Let's see what is outline in this example only. Okay. So let's say outline, I am applying 3 pixels. Let me add. See, is it visible? Why is it like this? Because I have applied it in the form of dotted. Okay, so just we apply border. Similarly, you have to apply outline. Now, what does this outline mean? Outline means, just as the name says, that it should be the outline. Means after the border, if we want to give some outline, that's what we give here. So here, in place of dotted, let's say solid. Now let me give it 200 pixels only, and in place of this let me give yellow. Okay. Now if you notice, it is looking like a outline. It is highlighted. You can add a lot of different kind of CSS and animations also. In that case, we apply outline. And mostly outline when we apply, suppose if I hover over it, that we will see later how to apply anything when we hover. So if I move over this, I want it to be highlighted. Okay. So at that time, I can give some outline. Okay. So at that purpose, we add these outlines. Now the everything means outline style, it is same as border style. What there were a lot of styles, right? Dotted, solid, dashed, all these things you can apply. Color you can apply. Then there was something about width. So width you can apply like this. We write 1 pixel, 2 pixels na, that is what the width is about. Then outline offset. Okay, so outline offset, let me demonstrate it. What is outline offset? Outline offset is basically the space between border and the outline. So outline if offset, if I apply 4 pixels, okay, now you can see there is a difference means there is a space between border and outline. Let me add 20 pixels so that it can be clearly visible. See, there's a lot more difference. So this is what about the outline offset. Okay, means if you want to give the space between outline and border. So here you can see, let me show outline basically. Yeah, so you can see content, border, and then this outline. Okay, after the border. Now going ahead. Okay, and one more thing, that see, there are basically four kinds of thing values which you can apply to the outline: style, color, width, and offset. There is a shortcut also which we just used. So the shorthand is, you can apply all these three in the same line. Means first you will write width, then style, then color. Okay, so like this, here you can apply. Width is 5 pixel, style is solid, and the color is yellow. Okay, just like we did in the previous example. Now going up on the text. So here we are going to apply a lot of styling on the text. Okay. Now let me just remove this outlines. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here we are going to see a lot of kind of styles. Now we'll see along with these two what all styles can we apply. So the first one is, if I want to apply 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. So first one we will see if I want to add color. Okay. So now what I will write, color means if I want to add something on the font color, means this text I want to make something. So let's say I'm giving font color as red. You can see the color goes to red, right? So this was how you can apply the color to the text. Background color you already know. So background color will be applied to the everything. Now there's something which is text align. Okay. Text align, let me just remove this padding because padding, let's give it to 2 pixels only. Okay, now here text align, I have a lot of options. See, when you will see now, here you will get a lot of options: center and justify, left, right. So you already know what it means. If I use this start, okay, mostly what we use is center. See, the text will be in the center of its container. What is the container? This div. This is the entire div, right? So here I have given it center. So it will come in the center. Similarly, the by default value is a start. Another thing is justify. Okay. Mm, Justify because the content is not large, na, that's why it won't be applied. Let me give some more words. Now, if you notice, see, before adding justify, let me show you. See, it was like it is taking only some width and then leaving some space. Justify means it will take the equal, means all the space, entire space of the row it will take. Now see, it has been stretched to cover the entire width. This is what we, just like in the, means you must have worked in the means this document, right? It can be any document, word document which we generally use. So in that way, in that case, we have a lot of styling, right? We want to do it in left shift, right side, we want it in center or justify. These four options we have. So just like that, here also we have the four options. Okay, now if I do center, so see, everything means the spaces will be there, however it will be in the center. Okay, so that's the case here. Similarly, if I do right, so see, everything has moved to the right. Okay, so that's what is here. Now, going further, there is something which is text align last. Okay. Now, text align last means only the last line will be affected. Let's say I'll give it center. See, only the last line will be changed. Everything, let me give it to justify, and then we'll see what center means. See, all the line is justifying. Even if I remove this text line last, this line will also be in the left side, means it will be justified. But if I apply here center, it means that only the last line, whatever is the last line, that will be in the center. Means this is only for the last line, as the term says, text align last. Okay. Now there's something which is direction. Okay, this is like very randomly used, but the only thing you should know about it. So that's what. Now see, right to left means it will start from right. Everything will start from right. And also apart from this direction, you should add this unicode video override. Okay. So now if I apply here, see, lorem it was written, right? LOREM. So it should be starting from here. LORMEM. But it is starting from right side. Why? Because we have applied this direction. And also this is video override, means everything is tilted. Okay. Just like the mirror image. Now if you put mirror, you will see the exact things. So basically these are used to give the mirror image. We will like randomly, very rarely use it. Okay, one of the application you can see that, suppose you are trying to build some riddle, okay, where you want to hide the answer. At that time you can do it like this. Now another thing is vertical align. For it, let me give some padding. No, or yeah, let's see, vertical align. Let me take some another example for this so that it can be clearly visible. Okay. Let's say here I am applying some span. Okay. You can see this span is here in the middle. Okay. Now let's apply on this span this thing. So in the div, we will go inside the div span. Okay. Now if we see vertical align bottom. Okay. Or let me add some image here. See, you can see here a small image, right? Now let me add some styling to this image. So basically what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to inside the div, I'm trying to access this image. Now if I add vertical list, means see, before, if you notice, before adding anything, you can see this is everything is in one line, right? Now if I apply something, let's say this bottom I am applying, so see it has moved a little lower. Okay. Now if I do top, okay, so it will be moved a bit top to the normal line. Now the default value what we have is the baseline. Baseline means whatever is the line of it, the base, in the baseline also only we want it. Okay. So that's what is the this vertical align do. Okay. Now why is it helpful? So for example, if you are writing some formulas, chemistry formulas or maths formulas, at that time like H2SO4 you want to write, so how much lower you want to add this to H2. Okay, so how much lower you want to add this to, at that time we can use this vertical align. This is also not every time used, but yeah, this can be used, a vertical align. Okay, depending on the test case. Similar to this, let me add something else, which is if I want to add some links. Okay. So here, let me add home. A simple link I have added. See here, you can see. Now I want to add some styling over here. So for this A, I will do text decoration, or if I do none. See, what happens basically, it was having this underline, right? This text by default is having some underline. But if I remove it, okay, what happens? It has been none, means I don't want any kind of decoration. Now, this decoration, for this decoration color also, we can have a lot of things. Actually, what we can have text to decoration line, okay, color. So this color, I can add anything. See, this underline is in this format. Let me just increase the font size. So you can see this means underline under it, that it is in this aqua color. Why? Because I have added this text decoration as color as aqua. Okay. Now similarly, we have some text decoration line. Okay. Let's see that also. So suppose I add line through. What it means through it this line will be, or I can have, means I have three options. I can either use underline, okay, that is by default. Line through you have seen, and other is overline. So if you see, overline means it will come above it. Okay, so these are basically we can have to add just text styling. Okay, now there is something else also, like thickness also you can add. So basically what happens, we can use the a general format, means a shortcut we can use. And what is the shortcut? You can add all these things in the same line. So basically this text decoration line, color and style. Okay, now how will I write? Basically I'll just show you. So I'll just add text decoration, not specifically style line, nothing. Okay. But here specifically I will have to give some decorations, or I can say the line I have to give. So first of all, what I will give the value of this text decoration line. Okay. Then what I will give, this color and then the style. Okay. So that's what you can use a shortcut. Now you can explore this more. Okay, here I have shown you how you can do. So here you can first write underline, then red, then whatever is the style, and then thickness you can write. So it is 5 pixels. Let me just use this only and show it to you. See, here you can use. See, why is it this way? Because we have added double. Okay, here if you see, red color means we want underline. Let me do it overline. Okay, it has come overline, then it is in the red color, then double styling I want, and the thickness I want is 5 pixels. Okay, so that's what you can just explore about this text decorations. Now what is the mostly uses text decoration? None. Why? Because we don't want any kind of decoration by default. Means if we add any kind of link now, it will have add this underline by default. So we need to remove this underline because we don't want to give the styling of this underline, right? We see the links as common text only every time. So that's why we will use this text decoration none. So what it will do, it will just simply remove this underline. Okay. Now going ahead on this div only, we will apply the next styling here. So we have text transformation. Okay. Now again, for the text transformation we have a lot of options. We will have, I want it in lowercase. So if you notice, everything will be in lowercase. Similarly, if I want it in uppercase, I can have everything in uppercase. If I want to capitalize, okay, it means that every word's first letter will be in capital letters. Okay, that's what we mean by capitalize. So basically we have these three options: capitalize, lowercase, uppercase. Now what is the utilization? See, what we do is, suppose inside this div we have a lot of things. We have suppose we are taking input from user, so the user can give any kind of input, right? It can be, I means small a, starting from small a, capital. But If I want to display that input on the screen, what I want to display it in some format, right? So I will apply all these format by default, that whatever is getting applied means even if the user write small a, small b, but I want it in capital I, capital form. Okay, so that's why we will add these text transformations. Okay, now there is something which is text intent. What I mean by text intent is basically, suppose I'm adding 30 pixels. See, what happens if you have seen different kinds of blogs when we write big articles, we add some spaces, right, in the starting, and then start the paragraph. So that is what meant by text intent, means in the starting of the line, if you want some space, intent basically means spacing. Okay, so if you want some spacing in the starting, that you can add by this text intent. Similarly, we have this letter spacing, means if I want to see, these 3 pixels will be added between each letter. Okay, for similarly we have this line height, so that you can explore. Okay, I have added all these things. Line height means basically between the two lines there will be some space, so that is the line height. Similar is the word is, so word means between the two words if I want some space. Then there is white space. Okay, let's see this white space. Let me go in this HTML only, and what I'm doing, I will just duplicate this div. Okay, by no space what I mean, and I will have to remove everything, I guess. Okay, I'll just explain it later because I will have to remove all these styling to show you this. It basically means that no space we want by default. Okay, here what you can see, only the margin you are able to see right now. See, only the by default margin you will see. Otherwise, what happens now, let me tell you, there is something like DOM manipulation, if you have heard about this word. Okay, there is something DOM manipulation. Now, what do I mean by DOM is document object model. See, what happens? We are adding here, just like we see in the starting class, no, day one, in the HTML, we saw that if I'm using any kind of this HTML file, it is creating some tree. How it is creating the tree? First of all, this HTML will be there, then this head will be there, okay, then this body will be there. So what happens between this head and body, or I can say between this first div and between this second div, this space also means you can see this space, right? So this space is also counted as another element, means what are the child of body. If I say the child of body, then it will be this div, then this space also, and then this another div. So what happens when I do this no space, when I assign this white space as no space, it means that I don't want these spaces in between to capture any kind of space. Okay, for example, if I add this and line also, so basically this entire thing is also a child of this body, but by adding no space I don't want it. So this actually, this concept gets better cleared when we learn about DOM manipulation in JavaScript. So for now you can just ignore, but just remember there is something like white space, no space. It means that it will remove these empty text. Okay, what we say, these empty text, that these texts are not containing anything but they are simply empty. New line we can say, or the empty space. Okay, these constitute our empty space. Other is this div tag, right? But this empty tag also we will just ignore. Okay, so that's the case here. Now going ahead, we'll see some text shadow. Okay, So basically for the text shadow, we have all these things, means horizontal value I can give, vertical value I can give, then what kind of blur I wanted, and color, what kind of color I want. Okay, so here let's see. Can you see a quite shadowish color here in the every text? Okay, so that is because we have added this text shadow. Now, if I add this 20 pixels, okay, you will see it in the vertical. Means in the vertical direction, it is 20 pixels. Okay, and this blur value, let me move it to a side only. Okay, and this blur value, let me just increase. Okay, so let's say we are adding 20 pixels, so it will be more blurred. Now if I add 2 pixels only.
You are not audible.
Hello, is it audible now? Hello, 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 is it audible now? Hmm, let me see, but my network is good. Okay, so it's audible to Sabha, means it must be audible because my network is also fine. Just check out Hazra if you can just rejoin.
Sure.
Yeah. Audible now?
Yes, now good. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying is we are having these three values. First value means this horizontal way, means whatever the horizontal pixels you want. Second is this vertical pixels. This third thing indicates blur. So here I want only 2 pixels of blur. Or if I add 5 pixels, it will be more blurred. See? So you are just rating this blurring thing. Okay. So this is what about text shadow. You can add, means see here this, your red color is looking very awful, but if you see different kind of styles, or let me add some black only, shades of gray. Okay, so it would be better, right? Now this is everything about the text we want. So we have seen a lot of way, right? We can modify the text inside. There is a lot of stylings which we can apply. So what you need to do, if you want to just master it, you have to apply yourself. Because see, we can't remember everything. But what happens, sometimes the thing says that okay, I want this paragraph to start with after some space. So that's for that what we will do, text intent we will do. Another means requirement comes that these text I want some space between the letters. So what you will do, letter spacing you can use. Or if I want between the words I want some more space, then word spacing you can use. So there are a lot of stylings. Basically you should know that all these things are possible, means there is something for the style. Even though you don't remember exactly that okay, vertical align you have to write like this, but you should know that you can just change these things. Okay, so for that you need to just apply all these styles and check it yourself once. Okay, now we'll see about the fonts. For the fonts, let me just open one image. See, basically we have a lot, means two types of fonts on the broader end. One is the serif and another is the sans serif. So sans serif means it will not have any kind of styling. Here if you see, it is not having any kind of styling by default. But however, if you see this sans, it has, means on the edges, it is quite sharp at the edges. If you see each and every word, means letter, it is sharp at the edge. So this is what we mean by serif. Okay. However, the sans serif, that means that it is very plain text. So the plain text we say sans serif. Then another is this monospace. Okay, this you can see monospace means basically what happens if you want to identify. This is also like very normal plain text, but the spacing here will be quite more. Okay, and mostly see, these are the names of the styling. This is Times New Roman style, this is Georgia, this is German, Arial, Verdana. Okay, so these are common serif and sans serif stylings. Okay, another is this means monoscape. So this is basically if I want to write some code. Okay, so specifically computer code if I want to explain. So in this monospace, I explain. Now if you have used a Telegram also, so you can better add in the Telegram. We get a lot of formatting styles. If you select any word, you get a lot of styles. So there we get this monospace also. So better you should try, you can try there also. Means it basically means that if I want to give some like robotic text, if I want. So if I want to add some code that like it is for the computer, then I can use the monospace. Then cursive you all know. And the fantasy means that some fancy styling will be there in this fantasy. Okay, so on the broader end, on the means we have these two, serif and the sans serif. So serif means these edges will be sharp. Sans serif means it will be all plain. Okay, otherwise we have all these generic font family. Now what you can do, see there, here I have explained all the means how, what these individual fonts are. So you can go and read them. But there is something like if I want to add explicitly, here let's try to means add some font family. Okay, and where will I add? Mostly in the universal operator I will add these font family, because I want them to be like applied to all the things. Okay, so universal thing means all the pages. So here if you notice, see, every edge is quite sharp. Okay, there is a stroke in every edge. This is basically what we mean by this Times New Roman. Okay, in place of this, if I use Arial, see, now it is all plain. Why? Because this is sans serif. So in whichever format you want, that kind of format you can apply. Now you will see that I have all these three values. Let me remove and like do it A double AR double I. Okay. Now if you see, however, I have applied this Arial, but the second value I have passed is serif. Serif means that strokes one. Okay, so here what happens, if the first font family is not applicable, then the second will be applicable. And what happens, see, we give two stylings, two font family we give generally. And the third one is by default whatever the generic font we have seen, a serif, sans serif, monospace. Let me give monospace here. Okay, and then just change these two things. See, monospace, you can see it is in this format. So what happens if the first family fails, if the second fails, this third will be applied. Okay, and third most probably will give this kind of generic fonts only. Okay, why? Because these are already, means browser knows about these. And what happens, sometimes some of the browsers use some kind of styling, different browsers use different styling. And also user can have their by default styling applied on their devices. So for that, just to avoid the clashing, that we can't apply this font family and it will give some error or just unpredictable text, means style. And for to means escape from this, we apply this third font family. Okay, so that's what about the font family. Now going ahead, we'll see that in this font also you can apply a lot of things. Let me just not add here. Let me just add here. So one thing is this font weight. You can give this weight, however, we do this bold mostly we write. So here if you see, it has gone bold. Another is you can write italic. Okay. So this italic, normal, oblique, all these things, all these font style, sorry, here in the weight you can apply bold, or you can apply some random values. Let's say the 700 you have applied. So it means that it will be more bold. This 200 will be less bolder, or it is not even bolder. This 500, okay, like this you can apply different weights. Now here why it is not applicable now, sometimes what happens, we download some font family explicitly from the external source. At that time we download some font weight also. So for example, if I want this Arial, okay, family. Now in Arial also I want in 100 bold also, in 500 bold also, in 700 bold also. So what I will do, on the entire website I will use this Arial only, but for the heading I will use Arial with bold 700. For the subheading, what I will use, Arial with the boldness 500, like this you can use. Okay. Now there is something which is font style. In this font style you have all these options. So let's say I'm adding this oblique. Okay, it means simply, sorry, if I'm adding italic, it means that it is something tilted. Similar is the oblique. Okay, both of them are not different anymore, but yeah, means these two are given the values, so we have two different values, however they both do the same thing, means just tilt it. Okay, so this font weight we have seen. Then there is this font variant. So again it is normal or small caps, that if we want everything in the small capital. Now font size you can give. Okay, so that we will see. Now let us, and also there is one shortcut. Okay, so shortcut means you can, first of all, here I have added all the values, like what all things you can add in the shortcut. So first of all you have to give font style, then font variant, then for font weight, then font, it can be font size or line height, anything. Then font family we add. Okay, so this is the shortcut. If you want to add all these styling in one line, then this is the shortcut. Now let's go on the Google and we will learn how to apply these fonts. So what I will do, I will simply write Google Fonts. Okay. Now the first website only I'll go. Now see, we will go in this font section basically. Here we are having a lot of different kinds of fonts. See, you can see various fonts. We can choose any one. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, Laura. It will be quite visible. Now see what all things you are having. For this you will have this weight also. See here, 400 weight we are having. Then another is this lightweight, means 300. Okay, all these weights we are having. So we can just, either you can remove that, if you don't want anything you can remove, or you can use these. Okay, so by default we are getting all these things. Now how to use this? So what you have done, you have selected that I want this family, font family. Now in the right side you can see that you will get this link. Okay, so this link you can apply in the HTML format, HTML file you can apply this link. Second is this import. So what you need to do is simply copy it. Okay, and now just in the top import this. Okay, once you have imported, you will learn how to just apply this also, right? So this time what you can do, you have to write simply font family like this. All these things you will have to, you can know from here. Okay, everything will be provided. You don't have to worry, just select the font, whichever font style you want, that you have to select. Now here also if you notice, the first name, first is the styling name, and the second is the sans serif. So basically what does this line means, that if roboto can be applied, okay, otherwise just apply this sans serif styling. So now if you notice, it's not been changed. Why? It has been Roboto. We had means we had opted for this LoRa. Okay, let me just remove all these things. And from here, I'll just add. One is this italic one, and another is this regular one. Okay, both of them I want. Again, I'll go in the import. Okay, so in the import, I'll just copy these things, and here I will apply in the import. Okay, this style you can just remove. And next thing is how to apply. Yeah, this is the font family. So earlier one was by default, it must have been selected. So see, this is LoRa now. See, can you see the difference between these two? Now, if I remove, you can see the then means this is the by default styling. But if I apply here, you can see it is this format. So similarly, you can use a lot of styling from the means a lot of style fonts from the Google fonts. Okay, so that is one thing. And also there are a lot of variety means from where you can use these fonts, and the process will be same. First of all, you will have to use this import. Okay, and second thing, you will have to apply this font family. Okay, sometimes what happens, we just import it and forget to add this style font family, so that's wrong. And one more thing, while we had just imported it, see, you can see we have imported this italic also. So here you can give the styling as italic, and you can see the difference. Okay, that you can do. Everything understood till now?
Yes.
So the next thing is, this is very important. We'll see about the font size now. Okay, so I have added all these things by default. Let me open this index.css file. Okay, yeah. Let me just remove all these things first, and then we'll see one by one. Now I'm using basically this font size HTML, so I'll just open it in live server. Okay, actually means I have, I think. For example, I want to open it by default in another browser. Okay, what I'll have to do means, I hope I have told you this earlier also. Minute. Yeah. So this font size HTML file I want to open. Okay. So I'll just right click and I want to open it in Chrome. Here I think I have changed the setting earlier, so that because of that it is this way. Give me a minute, okay? So okay, we'll use this Chrome for now. So here you can see, for the better way you can see here. Now if we notice in this font size.html, we are having one div, okay? This lorem, this you can see, first div. So we have basically three divs like this, and then this fourth div also. And let me just remove this styling from here as well. Okay, so these are the basic format which I have. Means this first format. Let me use this scroll edge only; it will be more visible. Basically, I have just did this text to very small size. That's why it is visible in very small size. I can just zoom it out, but okay, fine till now. You are able to see these things, right? It must be pretty small, but still, is it visible?
Yes. No, no, it is get visible.
Okay. So we'll see one by one. Basically, what happens now? We are having four means two types of basic styling. Means in the fonts we have two kind of size. Okay. First one, what we have the absolute size. Let me. Yeah. So first is the absolute unit of adding these fonts, which can be centimeter, inches, pixels. So mostly we use this pixels. Okay. Second is the relative unit. Relative means it will be in relation to something else. Okay. So one is this EM. All these things are there. These images you can see. But mostly what we have used now, we use this EM, REM, VW, VW, VH, and this percentage. These we use. Okay, so I'm going to cover these only because understanding other things is not useful because we are not going to use it anyway. So here basically I have added all these divs. Now, okay, so we are having all these different styles. Means two types of units we have. One is the absolute unit, another is the relative unit. So in the absolute unit, let's see this pixels. So I in means basically what I have done on this div, I have added this class pixel. Okay, so here if I just remove the pixel, now if I apply it, see, you will see that if 1 minute something happened. Till then we can see in the chrome only. Okay, so here basically I have added this styling. So what I have done, border I have added 2 pixels solid black, then this width 200 pixels I have given, and font size as 200 pixels. Okay, now I want to show you something. See, this width basically I have given it 200 pixels. Okay. So now this 200 pixels is fixed. Even if I decrease the window mean size of the screen or increase it, it is fixed. It will be always 200 pixels. And the means this 20 pixels, whatever is the font size, that is also fixed. That it will be 20 pixels always. Okay. Now this is not changing. So that is why we call it absolute. Means it is not. It is like static only. It will not change. It has the fixed value. Okay, so one thing is this pixel, which we generally use. You have seen earlier also. Okay, now just let me just add this value only. Another is we can use this percentage. Okay, now in the percentage, I am adding to this font size as well as to this what means width. I am adding this percentage. Now, if I just refresh it, I have added the same border as 2 pixels and the width is 550 pixels and the font size is also 50 pixels I have applied. Now, if I just decrease the size, you will notice that see this width is also decreasing and the size will means the width whatever is the size. Let me see, based on the screen, this width will change. Why? Because it is 50%. It will always be the 50% of the screen. Okay, whatever we are. So now, this is what we call as relative unit. Relative unit is obviously good because it will change as per we want. Another is this view width. Okay, now whatever is visible to you, that we call as viewport. Okay, this entire white screen, if you see, that is our viewport. Okay, now on this viewport, what I have done, I have basically again added some border. Then width, I have added 50 viewport. 50 viewport means 50% of this entire viewport. So if you see this entire screen as one viewport, whatever is the white screen, if you see, so it's 50% is this. Okay, and similarly some height I have applied. Okay, so for now you can just forget about this height. Only the width we are considering. So this width we are having. Now if you notice one thing, that earlier the second div was of percentage, it was 50%, and this is 50 viewport. And what I say just said, that means, see, I have added in these notes also all these things. You will, 1 minute. So here if you notice, this viewport, it is relative to our viewport. Okay. Now here what happens when we are considering these divs. Okay. At that time, this margin, padding, all these things also come in the width. However, these all things are not counted here. So for that reason, we are having this as a longer one. Now if I want to change it, what I can do, 1 minute. Okay. Here, let me add some by default values, means this universal operator I am doing, so that everyone will have same, means padding 0 and margin 0. In this case, now you will see that thing. See, if I refresh it, both of them will be equal. Why? Because this time margin and padding are 0 for both. So what happens, there is one difference between this viewport and using this percentage. This percentage includes this padding and margin also. However, viewport does not include, so that's why we were seeing this difference. However, this time we are having 50% for both of them. Now if I decrease the size, see, it has also getting decreased. Okay, similarly it to same extent, means if I say 50% or 50 VW, it means the same thing. Okay, so like this we are having these two units. Other unit which we will use is mostly EM or REM. Okay, so here let's say REM first. Now for this REM, I have added the styling in this index.css. So here REM again, I have added this border as 2 pixels, and this font size I have done is 2 RAM. Okay. Now this RAM basically means, see, for the, if you want to add this width and all, for that generally what we do now, we use this percentage, mostly percentage, because it is feasible to understand to us that okay, width you have given 50 percent, but if you give 50% or as font size, it is quite not feasible, because we can't know what is the 50% of it. Okay, so that's why most of the time we go for pixels, but pixels is like it is fixed, it is not responsive. So for being responsive, we generally use this RAM. Now if you see here in the RAM, what happens, RAM means it is relative to the root. Okay, what is the root? Root is basically this HTML. So it will be by default HTML will have font size as 16 pixels. Okay, so now here I have written 2 RAM. 2 RAM means 2 times of a root element. Okay, 2 times of root element means, what is the roots element font size? It is 16 pixels. So here for this RAM, it will be 2 into 16 means 32 pixels. Now how to notice, let's go in the inspect and see what is the font size basically. I'll just select this one. Here in the computed, if you go, see, font size, it is given 24 pixels. I don't know why. Okay, must be because I have changed. Okay, leave it for now. If I do 3 pixels, it should be 36 pixels by this case. Okay, yeah. So means this window edge is by default it is considering 12 pixel as the default font size. So that's why if I do 2 rem, it means 2 times of 12 pixels. So basically whatever is the pixels of this root element, that will be applied. Now what we do is we generally apply font size as 10 pixels. Now why we apply? In most of the cases if you see, either you will see font size as 10 pixels or you will see 62.5%. Okay, why is it? Because 100% also means that we want the default. Okay, now default is mainly 16 pixels. Okay, here let us check in the edge. Okay, once, if here also it is considering 12 pixels or 16 pixels. Okay, let's go in this and see in the computed. Okay, here it is 20. Okay, wait. Here means I have explicitly, I have not opened it with the help of that open server. Na? That is why I have to change again and again. See here it is 32 pixels. Means by default what happens in most of the browsers, I have changed the some of the font size settings of my Windows, means Microsoft Edge. That's why we are seeing 12 pixel here. But by default what happens? 16 pixels is the default value. Okay. So here what happens? 16 pixels is the default 100%, means 100%, I mean 16 pixels. Okay, now if you find 62.5 pixel percent, okay, you will get as 10%, 10 pixels. So writing this 10 pixels or writing this 62.5%, both are same things. Okay, because of this reason. Now you will wonder why are you adding this font size? Means you were explaining about this RAM and now you have gone in this HTML and changed this font size to 10 pixels. Why I have done? Just because I want you to know the font size. What is this font size? Otherwise, what will happen if I do, let's say 2.2? Now what will you have to do? You will do 2.2 of 16%. That will be bad na. So that's why I have just changed the font size of this HTML. Now see from how this RAM will take the value, it will take from the HTML. Okay, so this HTML is having default value as 10 pixels. Now 2.2 RAM means 2.2 into 10 means 22. So it is basically 22 pixels. Now let's go and check in the in this Chrome only. Okay, it should be 22 pixels. Okay, as we discussed. Now again if I go here, don't know what is happening. It is not getting refreshed properly, I guess. Yeah, see 22 pixels we have got. Why we got? Earlier we were getting 36 pixels, right? Why? Because of 2 RAM. So what you need to remember is this RAM takes value from HTML. So what we do generally, either we write 10 pixel as font size in the HTML or 62.5%. Okay, so this means that it will take values from here. Now for your convenience it will always be 2.2 into 10 you have to do every time. So you can add 2 RAM, it means 20 pixels. If I do 2.1, this means 21 pixels basically. Okay, is it fine? Is it fine till now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take just 5 more minutes and we'll end. Okay, yeah, so that is what we are considering about this RAM. Now here, okay, see, one more thing I want to explain to you. Let me just go in the settings. Okay, and I'll tell you one difference. Here I'll just have to see the font where. Huh. By default, sometimes what happens, user change their default font size. So see here what I have done. I have done it very large. So now my default font will be very large. Okay, here if I go in our document now, what happens, see, this pixel is 20 pixels already. This thing, second thing has changed. Why? Because what we have given in the second case, if you see, it was of percent. Okay, and what we have given it 50%. Okay, see, font size we have given 50%, so that's why it has gone 50%, 50% of it. Similarly, this viewport, for viewport, okay, we have not given font size. Let me give this font size. This will also decrease because it has gone 50%, means half of the default width. Okay, now I have applied RAM also on the fourth div, if you notice. So this RAM, it is larger only. See, other things have gone small, means they have changed. I don't know how they have changed, means they are giving some unknown behavior. But here, this is large. This is larger, means this RAM is retaining whatever is the setting. Now let me change setting to very small. Okay, let me refresh it once. Or yeah, or let me add medium only. Okay, I don't understand it is applied or not. It is not visible. Yeah, so this is the medium thing. Okay, what happens, see, one thing you notice, I have done medium, I have done large, I have done very small. These two things were changing. Okay, this was 20 pixels every time, but this has retained. If it was 20 pixel also, it has retained that I want to give 10 per, means I want to give 2.22 RAM, means 20 pixels I want to give. So it has always given this 20 pixels, 20%. Now this is the best thing. If I want to use this RAM, this is the best thing, that even if user changes its original means settings, still these values will be retained. Okay, so that's why the best option. Hello, any problem?
No, no.
Okay, okay. So the means best thing is that these values will be retained. Okay, so that's why we mostly use this RAM. Another thing, that is the last okay unit I want to tell you, it is EM. Okay, there is always a confusion between RAM and EM. See, RAM means from the root it will see, means from the root. Who is the root? Root is basically this HTML. Root of this document, entire document is a HTML. EM will set the values with reference to whatever is the parent. Okay, now just see the settings I want to give. Okay, for this EM, just notice we have this UI. Inside the, we have this UL. Inside this UL we have one list. Inside it we have another UL. And inside it we are having list, means nested listing we have done basically here, just to demonstrate that why we will not use this EM. Okay, now I am giving this UL, only the UL. I am giving 2 RAM. Okay, 2 RAM means 2 EM means whatever is the outer, out from an outer one it will see. Yes. Okay, just to see nicely. Okay, what is the thing happening here? See, lorem 3, lorem 3, and it is in so large lorem 3. Why? How does it happen? What we have done, I have applied no styling. See, if I just remove this, you will see it in normal form. Okay, but if I do apply on this UL, okay, see, this is the difference. However, all these UL all should have the same kind of sizing, but they are having different size. Now, what happens? This outer UL will get 2 EM, means it has got 20 pixels. Okay, let's say. But this will get 2 into its parents. So parent is having 20 pixels, so it is 2 into 20 pixels, means it is basically 40 pixels. Similarly, here this inside UL, what it is having, 2 into its own parent. Who is the parent of this UL? If you see, it is this outer UL, right? So again, it will be 2 into the parent's size. So it is 40 pixels. See, it is 40 pixels. So this is basically 80 pixels. Now, this is so confusing, right? Isn't it? It is so confusing. So we will never use such kind of EM. Means mostly we avoid using EM because we can't just predict what will be the exact value. If we were using this RAM, we were knowing that it is whatever is the value we can predict. If it is 2 RAM, it means we can see, we just have to see the HTML tag and we can see that okay, it is 20 pixels. But now here you have added an UL to EM, and all these three are having different kind of size. You can't predict which one is having what size. So that's why we use this RAM. So here see, if you use RAM, all these three will have same size. However, if you use this EM, it will be quite unpredictable. So now we were having all these four options: pixels, percentage, viewport width, and this RAM and EM. Who won in all these things? This RAM wins. Why? Because it is working best with everything. Okay, so that's what we learn about these unit cases, and that's how we learn how to make it responsive, right? Okay. Hello. Yes, you can say. Hello. Yes, yes, you
Hello.
yeah, go on. Yes. Hello, please speak up.
No, no, all good.
Okay. So that's
Yes.
what about the
We
units.
will finish it up now.
Yeah, just I'm finishing up. So that is about the units. What you need to do is just try, means experiment whatever we learned today by yourself only. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll share the docs already. Okay then. Bye.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, one.
Yeah, Sabha, yeah, go on.
Yeah, oh, I want to HTML file. I want .html file.
You want